There's been much discussion about the far future possibilities of AI, and we will discuss that, but it's also good to focus on the here and now and the current impact, challenges, and opportunities of artificial intelligence. So let's start there and then move into the further future as we go along. And this is a session in which I would love to have some of your contributions. So at a couple of points during this conversation, I will be reaching out to you to get you to make questions and comments. So we should move quickly on. Right, let me just make sure my telephone's turned off. That would be bad, wouldn't it, if the moderator telephone went off. So let's focus on current possibilities with AI. Let's start with you, Arisa, if we may. What do you see as the major challenges for AI now that it's presenting to us as humans?
Thank you, Adam. Challenges. I think there's various challenges, like the privacy, accountability issue, transparency. But I think the biggest challenge is like the challenges to like what is a human being? I think this is kind of related to the morning session. So when, I think many of you actually are using, the ChatGPT or the Gemini or even DeepSeek, and maybe you think it's really very effective, that supports your work or maybe your lives. However, or maybe the research as well. However, so it kind of, questions us, what is our human being's role, or what we can do to, to use that in proper way. So that actually challenges what is our human being's role, or what actually we expect to, for the future society. So that's the biggest question. And with that, under that, I think there also exists some kind of, very domain-based discussion about, the privacy, security issues, safety issues. But I think we need to tackle on this bigger issue first.
And I think lovely you start there. And I mean, one clear example of that being a problem is the automation of many people's jobs. And so many people who are not in any way involved in the development of AI or thinking about AI are finding AI is potentially going to replace what they do. And that's a huge societal disruptor. And I guess that point that they are not involved, they're just experiencing this, is a big change.
I think so too. So this big ChatGPT or the LLM issue actually changed because in like 2015 or 16 something, the many discussion about this AI challenges are mostly for the AI developers. But right now, what we are talking is like, the employment, education, or future work, or maybe, what's the human role will be. So, the challenges came to much more, the user-based challenge, user-oriented challenges. So I think this kind of widens, the people who need to talk about this topic.
Yeah, indeed, exactly. It should be a much more inclusive conversation. Yutaka, do you want to comment on this briefly?
Yeah, yeah, I want to mention about the recent advancement of AI. And as Adam said, the automation is progressing. We have AI agent services a lot recently, or we could say agentic AI, which can do things like make reservation for hotels or travels, or do purchase on the Amazon website or something like that. The past generative AI does the conversation. So if we put question, they can give us answer. But what they can provide now is action, the sequence of actions. So they do things for the users. So that's one thing. Another thing is physical AI. So with the advancement of the so-called the robotic foundation model, the robots now have the generalized behaviors, so they can fold laundries, or they can, do the many housekeeping jobs. So now, from now on, maybe the robotic industry will change a lot, and that is happening right now. Yeah.
And in terms of AI agents, of course, they can set their own sub-goals, and that raises questions about what goals they will set themselves.
Yeah, that's true. But currently it's more like a theoretical question. but the reality is we cannot expand the domain where the AI agent will work. So, for example, the doing the making a reservation or the purchasing something for the user is a good starting point. But if we expand that, then the agent does not work anymore. So now we don't have the level of discussing the sub goal should be an issue for the human or not. Maybe we are more in a primitive level compared to that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So much positive and much challenge around this. Ada, do you want to talk about the impact of AI on research at all?
On research?
On research? I don't know.
Really?
Well, I don't know. It's up to you. You work on folded proteins, and one of the major developments in AI recently has been the solving of the protein folding problem for with AlphaFold 2 from Google DeepMind. But maybe you want to talk about something else. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you. So proteins are performing almost all functions of every living cell in every living animal, human, bird, flower, anything that grows. Proteins are able to do it, or they are designed to do this by their structure. The structure is accommodating those materials that participate in producing new materials. And when proteins were discovered, I don't talk about long ago, but when there was already sequence of proteins, sequence of the amino acids that make the proteins, people thought that maybe they can predict what will be the structure of the protein that has to make this and this and these challenges. And I don't want to say they failed. I also don't want to say they succeeded. The success was marginal, very good for the time, about between 15 to 20% of correct prediction of structure, based on the structures that were known at that time, which were very, very few. I'm talking about now 60 years ago or 50 years ago. And the level of prediction was more or less constant with a little increase until about 40–45% of correct prediction. So for the prediction, there was a specific organization created called CASP. They were focusing on a specific protein, which was at that time a subject for research of structure. And in parallel, they wanted to predict the structure. And as I said, there was an increase in the correctness of prediction, but not higher than about half the cases. This was every second year, called CASP, and every second year it was somewhere else in the world. But I thought that 50% correct prediction is fantastic. But Molt, that started this initiative, thought that it should be better. When AI came into the game, then the story changed. But not only because of AI, but also because more structures were known. It means the basis to this type of research became larger, and there was more information from structures that were determined by experiments, crystallographically.
It's very nice, actually, that you emphasize the human component in this, because the story could be told, as perhaps I introduced it, that AI came along and AlphaFold 2, and suddenly we have the structure. But yes, the human effort of the hundreds of thousands of people who'd been collecting structures and depositing them in the protein data bank, and the human success that had happened prior to that goes alongside it. So it's a beautiful example of humans and AI working together, actually.
Yeah, that's the only way structures became part of AI.
Yeah.
Protein structures and also proteins duties, performance.
Can I just jump into here? So I think what you mentioned is really important, how AI, the human endeavor to do this research, and then there comes like AI as a tool, and how we can use this technology in very good manner, or maybe, how we can use, correctly as a tool. And my research field is more, how people can use this AI in the workplaces, or or maybe in the research area. And what I see is that kind of collaboration is not working well to some extent. In some kind of field. And there's some places where this kind of collaboration works really good, but there's some kind of places that this is actually not working well. And this is not only from the technical limitation, but it's more like how human beings can adapt, or maybe the environment or the readiness towards this AI. So I think what you mentioned is like how human beings or the researchers are actually accumulating data, and how they can use this AI as a tool. But somehow maybe we think that the AI as a very great tool. But the thing is that even if the technology is good, but the people's awareness, or maybe the places awareness, so maybe like infrastructure issues, the networking, the security issue, or maybe how to say the data set. If those things are not ready, and I can say that almost many places are not ready yet. Then the implementation of AI is not going well. So I think we in the short term, what we are actually facing is that maybe we might be expecting too much on technology, but we also need to kind of reconsider our work style, or maybe our awareness, or maybe we can maybe we can adjust it to the AI, but also we can also adjust how AI works. So it's more like a collaboration. So it's not like just implement the technology and everything goes well. It's not like a silver bullet.
Thank you very much indeed. That's a very nice point to open up to the audience. We don't have very long, so if you would like to make a comment or ask a question about this near-term AI, impact of AI, please do so. I can't believe it. Is there a hand raised? I see a hand raised here. Could we have a microphone come down, please? Microphone? I'm told that there are people with microphones running around. They need to run faster. Hello, thank you very much. Over here, please. Sorry. All the way here. Here. Here, please. Okay. I don't know. Sorry, I've picked somebody. I hope it's the right person. There we go. Thank you very much. Please, if you could make a short comment, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned about the employment, and I think it's really about in current situation, the society is about earning the revenue from the one who pays it as the return to the labor we do. But I know, like many years ago, there was a really idealistic idea that the automated system would reduce our work and do all the laborious work and enjoy our lives. But I think this implicitly stands on the idea that people still have the properties or earnings or whatever to do the daily life, regardless of this reduced labor. But in reality, do you think are we able to accept, especially those who are in power, the idea that people are earning all these earnings for the daily lives, even though they rely on the automated machines.
Thank you very much indeed for that very interesting question. So I suppose this really raises the question of things like universal basic income, the idea that we should, that we should all, the utopian idea that our drudgery should be done by machines, yes, and we should be free to enjoy our lives. Would anybody like to tackle that question? It's a big one. Arisa, do you want to have a quick comment?
I think it's when we're talking about this, you know, the employment and what the technology can do. The one thing is that like you mentioned, like a universal basic income. But on the other hand, when we think about especially the Japanese situation, I think, you know, we're actually facing the shortage of labor. So I think to some extent we actually are welcoming, you know, how to our tasks or our works can be taken by the artificial intelligence or the robotics. So I think the point is that it's not like, you know, our job or our work can be totally replaced by the human being, but the human being's role is to consider what can be done by human being and what can be done by machines. And that kind of management thing, I think, it can only be done by human being.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please, Ada.
Just a little comment to you. What can be done by human being and what can be done by machine? There is in between what can be done by nature.
Oh.
Very true, very true. But I thank you very much for raising this point of how the conversation has become one of fear of machines rather than benefit and idealized. Please, yes.
Thank you very much for your interesting talk. I was wondering if you could comment about what your opinion is on the dangers of the randomness of AI and the fact that their so-called cognitive processes are essentially an normative black box. Do you feel that this danger is a true danger?
Thank you very much indeed. So we will address, as we go forward in the discussion a little bit in a minute, the kind of future dangers. But right now, one good example of the black box is AlphaFold 2. So the protein folding problem was solved by a process we do not understand. We don't know how AlphaFold 2 does this. So do you have any quick comment on the fact that in the end, what we thought would be solved by understanding is not solved by understanding?
You prefer not to.
You prefer not to make a comment? Okay, fine. Yutaka, would you like to tackle that issue of the fact that...
Yeah, of course, there are many risks, and we have to consider about that. Actually, in Japan, we have the AI Strategy Council with Arisa, and also we recently had a group called AI Institutional Study Group that discuss about the regulation and legislation about the AI, and we made a discussion a lot about the AI risks and what can be done toward to mitigate that risk. And that trend is ongoing globally, and we have to have the international collaboration toward that respect. And to some extent, there is a misconception, misunderstanding of the recent technology. But to other respect, maybe we have to take more cautious step toward the advancement of AI. So yeah.
But sorry, Ada, yes, you want to go?
You do it.
Well, no, I'd much rather listen to you.
So now I can say something. I was waiting. In my opinion, the next, or one of the next duties of AI is to predict which proteins can do what. So if we need to do something that is still not done naturally, can we design a protein according to what we understand to do this particular assignment?
And the question relates to this idea of, okay, as humans, if we came to that, if we managed to do that, we'd understand the processes we used to get there. In this case, we're putting information into a large language model, basically, and getting out an answer, which is, we don't know how it came to the answer. The answer is right, perhaps, but we don't know about how it got there. Does that matter?
It matters by the way we think and the reasonable way we think. But nature came to some incredible designs without studying together with us. So we have to give nature a lot of respect.
True enough.
Maybe I have one comment.
Quick.
I think, we need to, I think that this kind of black boxing issue is very important, also like a transparency, accountability issue. So one thing is that technically or technologically, we need to, find a way how we can make this kind of black boxing into more like an XAI, explainable AI. That is one issue. But on the other hand, I think it's when we consider about like social risks, the problem is not about the technology is a black box, but we actually don't know who takes the responsibility of these risks. So consider about when something goes very wrong or some kind of incidents happen, and the machine tells we made this wrong decision because this actually was the reason, but it's not like the explanation what we want, but we want who takes the responsibility or how to mitigate, how to prevent that kind of risk to happen again. So I think from like social points, we need to think about the accountability issue as well. So I think there's a lot of way to tackle on this black boxing issue. And for my opinion, from like a social scientist, is that we need. This is also the topic of the morning session, but we need to have some kind of collaborative approach with the engineers and also like for social scientists, or more for the politicians to tackle with this this new challenging, but also that brings the opportunities.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for the point. We have so little time to cover so much, but anyway, we're touching on things. Let's move. We have to move forward a bit. Let's use Jeff Hinton to begin that conversation. So in this podcast recording, if we could put the Jeff Hinton picture up on the screen. Now, thank you. If we could play clip 2, first of all. This is Jeff talking about whether AI will become conscious. Clip 2, please.
That's becoming very central, what it is to be human, because the debate about whether these things will want to take over is all about, do they have desires and intentions? And many people think, for example, there's something that will protect us, which is they're not conscious and we're conscious. We got something special that they ain't got, and they will never have. And I think that's just gibberish. I'm a materialist. Consciousness emerges in sufficiently complicated systems, perhaps systems complicated enough to be able to model themselves, and there's no reason why these things won't be conscious.
Okay, and in fact, let's run straight into clip 3 as well, and then Yutaka, I'm going to come to you. So if we play clip 3 next, please. And this is about if they become...
I'm just worried by the fact that there's very few cases of more intelligent things being controlled by less intelligent things. And once they're a lot smarter than us, I don't think they'll put up with that. Well, that's what worries me, at least. Now, there's one line of argument that's more promising, which is a lot of the nasty characteristics that people have come from evolution. We evolved with small warring bands of chimpanzees, or our common ancestor was chimpanzees, and that led to this intense loyalty to your own group and intense competition with other groups, being willing to kill members of other groups. That sort of shows up in our politics quite a lot right now. These things didn't evolve. And so it may be we can avoid a lot of that nastiness in things that didn't evolve.
It's a nice thought that we could learn how to behave from them.
Yes, in fact, AI mediators are now quite good at getting people with opposing views to come to see each other's view. So there's a lot of good can be done with AI. And if we can keep it safe, it's going to be a wonderful thing.
AI mediators, maybe we should have AI moderators, I don't know. Anyway, it was interesting that he actually took a different view from Rich Roberts earlier, who was pointing out that humans kind of know how to behave towards each other. And he was saying that humans don't know how to behave each other. Maybe I will. But Yutaka, let me come to you. So will AI become conscious is one question. And then if it becomes super intelligent, will we be able to look to control it?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think with regard to the consciousness issue, my answer is yes, that we can build the AI with consciousness, because as Hinton Sensei said, that I believe consciousness is a mechanism, and that can be clarified and revealed in an artificial way. So the AI could be conscious, and they can model themselves. And that's the answer. Another question. I believe the less intelligent agent can control the more intelligent agent. That is happening all the time in the human society. Yeah, I'm sorry, but but it depends on how reward is distributed, or how the value is created. For example, if some agent is created to maximize some objective function, there could be another agent that could use that agent for their purpose. So maybe the objective function is, for example, a very narrow one. The other agent can utilize that for their purpose. So it's a relation of objective function or purpose. So we can design that. And in the human society, we sometimes have the triangle control system, so that any one agent should not have the much power over others. So that kind of devices could also be possible. So, yeah.
And do you think enough work is going in currently to actually looking at how to implement all that, basically under the title of safety research?
Yeah, I don't think it's enough. We have to be more careful about risks of AI, as Professor Hinton says always. And maybe this is not short-term, but middle-term, long-term issue, but we have to make enough endeavor to realize that kind of safety. Maybe we have more international research on this respect, and we have some governmental cooperation to monitor the ongoing development in the companies globally. Yeah.
Arisa, would you like to comment on this also?
Yeah, I agree with what Yutaka-san said about, we are actually doing, collaborative work on this safety security issue. But when I talk with the other colleagues from overseas, I think, we need to be more conceptually talk about what does safety means, or maybe, what does consciousness means, because, when in Japanese, we call safety as anzen. Or maybe, some person or some people may think, the safety can only be applied to, the physical or financial, or maybe the national safety or the security. But it might be, dependent, even though, we use the same word, the Japanese safety might be slightly different from, European safety, because, it depended on the circumstances or situation. We're in the island society, we actually, have well-educated, but maybe in the, places with totally different situation or circumstances, what does safety mean, or safety criteria that they actually want is totally different. So I think even though, we wanted to use the artificial intelligence in, our daily lives, or maybe in like the education or the politics or other way around, I think it's, we need to, philosophically or maybe in the conceptual level, first of all, discuss about the safety and what kind of safety actually we wanted to, have. So I think this is not the technical issue or the technological issue, but it's more like ourselves, focusing on what kind of society or what kind of future we wanted to live. So that's the starting point of the question.
Do you want to comment?
I want to add something to you. The question was whether AI can become conscious. Nature is conscious. We can be upset about this point or that point, or try to change it, but nature is conscious without any human being making it. It's by nature. So all what we have to do is to follow nature in our AI.
What do you mean by nature is conscious?
We are alive. We are alive and we can take a flight from Tokyo to London. Nature is conscious. Otherwise it would fall into the ocean.
If Jeff was here, he'd say all of that, what you just said, was all very well, but actually we're in an environment where governments are deregulating AI. They're loosening the fetters. They're saying it'll stifle innovation if we impose any restriction, and that is we're going in the wrong direction. And also, he'd say that government advisors were often people who had vested interests in seeing AI companies succeed. So how do you change that environment? Do you need to change that environment?
Changing the politicians?
That's another big conversation. We can talk about that at the end of the meeting, if you like. Yes, changing the politicians is one way, but would anyone like to comment? And then I'll open it to the floor for just very quick last comments.
Well, we might not directly answer to your question, but there's a kind of old saying that I really like, is that the road to hell is paved with the goodwill. So even though people are not intending to make the wrong use of the AI, or but people are thinking to make the society good or the better, but if there's a less collaboration or maybe people might think the safe society might be powered by the giant, I think the country or maybe the one of the politician. So I think what we need to do is to consider, or maybe to share the viewpoints of what does the society would like, and how we can make the governance of the AI system. And I think the world today is very becoming fragmented, and people are actually kind of entered the AI race. However, because it's entering the AI race, this is the actual point we need to think about the collaboration, or maybe to think about how we can make this AI more controllable, or maybe to make in the governance framework. So I think what we are doing currently in the governmental level or maybe in the academic level is very important. But I think what we also need this kind of public debate as well. Otherwise, it's not only the scientist or the politician who is making these rules or maybe using this technology, because I see that lots of people are actually using the ChatGPT today. So we are all in charge with this kind of governance of the control.
Thank you. Yutaka, very quickly.
If Professor Hinton have attended this meeting, maybe he should take the very risk side. And maybe I wanted to have the very positive side, but so I have to do both this time. But I think on the one hand, the AI advances society a lot. So we are using ChatGPT a lot, and maybe the science would even more advance with the help of AI. That's true. And on the other hand, maybe we have to have more, cautious step. And in the last dinner, many people mentioned about the Ashiroma conference, and which is a very good activity. And in the biology field, there's no accident so far. That's fantastic. And maybe same thing should happen in also the AI field. So we have to make endeavor as a researcher. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Asilomar conference, self-organized by people starting the biotechnology revolution, they got together and they decided on the safety principles then and there. And that's 50 years ago, and yes, now the same thing is needed.
That kind of effort should be also be needed.
We have just a minute or so, but is there somebody who wants to make a comment or ask a question? Please. I'd love to hear from somebody. There's somebody right in the middle. Can we get a microphone to this person? Sorry if I didn't see anyone else. Just here. Thank you very much. So I think that pretty much the last word of this session goes to you. So.
Thank you for microphone and thank you for nice discussion. And I have a positive opinion about the AI. If the AI is more clever, smart than human, if the government or company is organized or managed by AI, the society could become better. Of course, there is a risk, but I think the evolution of AI is a positive for human. So what do you think about the organization or management by AI?
Ada, would you like to have your institute managed by AI?
Because more clever than human, maybe.
Clever, better at management, better at handling interpersonal relations, as Jeff said, good mediators. What do you think? Very quickly.
I'm not sure that I would like to have it managed by AI formally, but in life it is. In real life it is.
Actually,
this way or that way you can look at it. At the end, AI is one of the more important factors in having my institute.
In practicality, yes, it doesn't manage you. But actually, I don't think anyone should manage you, Ada. I think you're
yeah, myself, of course. But the institute is larger than just me.
But in general, do you think would either of you like to comment, or both of you like to comment in like 10 seconds on the idea of AI management of companies, countries,
I think AI can manage the organization very well if given the proper objective. So setting the objective, the purpose is the human's role, I think.
My quick answer is that maybe they can, but I think if you wanted to do that in proper way, we need to change the system, because our current system is designed that this organization or maybe the government or company is controls, or maybe governed by human beings. Yes, and what human can do is totally different from what technology do. So if we wanted to shift it on that way, we first need to change the system as well.
Thank you very much indeed. So we all need to learn from each other, basically. Okay. Wow. Okay, thank you very much indeed. We got through a lot in a short time with your help. Thank you all very much indeed.